Hello, thank you for joining today's webinar, SUSE Linux Enterprise 15, the Beta Program. I am Kai Dupke. I'm the lead product manager for SUSE Linux Enterprise 15 at SUSE, and I will be your host for the today's session. Just a few housekeeping items. This presentation will last around 45 minutes with a presentation part and then a QA session at the end. Please submit any questions you have during the webinar in the chat window. We will do our best to answer all as part of the webinar or later on the beta mailing list. Just in case, this webinar is being recorded. We will share the information and recording later so that everyone can re-listen or share it with colleagues or other people. All right, let's get started with this today. As said, the next couple of minutes is about the SUSE Linux Enterprise Public Beta. I believe most of you already had a view on the beta program. Just in case you don't have yet, you're very welcome to join the beta program using the beta site as listed on the screen or the mailing list. Then join the mailing list to discuss actively with the other people on the beta program. The usual disclaimer, of course, what we are talking about is under NDA, and some of this is still forward-looking, and we still might change stuff within the work. All right, we are talking about SUSE Linux Enterprise 15. The special about SUSE Linux Enterprise 15 is that it is designed for the IT transformation. The IT transformation is about to move from the traditional infrastructure to a more software-defined infrastructure. What does this mean in practice? If we look into infrastructures, then we have a couple of different areas. It's listed in this matrix. And what we are talking about is having stuff more on the traditional side of infrastructure with a traditional data center, physical servers, and all this stuff. And on the other side, having stuff within the cloud, having containerized services and something like that. Some analysts call the left two pillars the mode 1 and the right side the mode 2. And just to make it pretty clear, for me, there is no benefit of being in 2 or in 1 as long as it serves your business, and that is the most crucial part of it. When we are looking into this, then we are at software-defined infrastructures. And SUSE has a nice, complete portfolio to address many of these areas. Of course, for the next minutes within this call, I am focusing more on the operating system and mostly of this on the SUSE Linux Enterprise server. When we are talking about SUSE Linux Enterprise, and in special when we are talking about 15, what does it mean? Which products are affected? So this is a condensed portfolio overview. And in this overview, you see with a green circle around a couple of products we are doing. And in a nutshell, that is the same products we have had delivered in the past, we will deliver with 15 as well. There are still two changes to the portfolio. The first of all is that we are looking into merging the so-called geo-clustering for high availability with a high availability product itself. And the other one is that the former dedicated software development piece now is part of the development tools module to make it better integrated with the product for easier development of our partners and customers. So all of this we deliver with a life cycle. And just as a reminder, most of you might know this already, so just look into this. When we do our products, we have a life cycle of total 13 years, we provide support for a major code stream. We start with a general available version. That is what we're looking to get during the summer this year of SUSE Linux Enterprise 15. And then every 12 months around, we will provide service packs. If we ship a new service pack, then we give you some time to migrate from the traditional product or the product you had before to the newer product. That is an overlap window, which is a 6-month overlap window. However, we have customers with a need to keep something running for quite some time. For these customers, we offer a so-called long-term service pack support, the LTSS, listed in blue in this diagram, to give you up to 3 additional years on top of the standard support to keep your systems on a specific version. These support offerings also enables you to migrate from one version to the other. And with respect to service packs, we give you the option to move from one service pack to the next service pack, but also to skip a service pack. And that is the green boxed versions here listed. So we will offer you then to skip, for example, service pack 1 to reduce operational overhead, for example, or make it more straightforward to get new features if you feel there's a desire for it. All of this fits into a roadmap. And if we look into the roadmap, then of course we have to look into the different products we have currently available and what will be available in the near future. Of course, for SUSE Linux Enterprise, we have currently the versions 11 and 12 available, and we will have soon a version 15 available. 11 will go out of generic support in 2019, next year. However, then is still this long-term service pack support available, so customers can keep it running if they prefer to do. SUSE Linux Enterprise 12 recently got a Service Pack 3, and we are looking forward to the next Service Pack, which will be Service Pack 4 then, at some point in the future. In between, we will have a release of SUSE Linux Enterprise 15. Of course, the last line in the diagram is a container as a service platform, and that is a different offering for the container business, which is built on versions of SUSE Linux Enterprise and always take new technology, new code streams into account to give you the most concrete, up-to-date solution for the container business. In a nutshell, that is a core thing of SUSE Linux Enterprise 15, to give you a multimodal delivery for the traditional SUSE Linux Enterprise server customers and for the container business by the SUSE Container as a service platform. If you think about the picture I showed before with the Mode 1 and Mode 2, with this delivery, SUSE is capable of providing you with the needed tools for all and everything, be it Mode 1 or Mode 2. Let's look into SUSE Linux Enterprise 15. For SUSE Linux Enterprise 15, we have defined 4 major themes. The first one is the multimodal. I already touched this, and I will explain in more details in a bit, to provide you a common code base for both a traditional and software-defined data center. The second theme is a unified installer. Give you a better, faster installation experience than we had it in the past. In a nutshell, kick off all installation from a single medium install, having a medium per product. The third one is Modular Plus. So we started in the past already with giving you modules, and we will enhance this to bridge between a stable base with progressive options and flexible delivery to give you the best from all the worlds we can give you. And finally, the last major theme is ease of use. means make it easier to handle our products, our modules and extensions. And we'll go into details of this later, but in a nutshell, it will give you a tool to search the complete SUSE universe for a package or finally an RPM function. So let's start with a multimodal approach. When we look into major versions at SUSE, of course, it's not just about giving you the newest version of packages or so. We are really looking into what has changed in the market, what we need to do to give you something for the next couple of years. Keep in mind, we are talking about 13 years of life cycle. So what we do will be the base for some future for us till we go to the next major version. When we look into this by an operation system requirements perspective, then we see customers asking us for some piece of software answering traditional infrastructure and some other piece where we answer the software-defined infrastructure. And by a high-level view, there is one big difference between the two. For the traditional infrastructure, the tool, the operating system is more generic, and we don't know what use case you're running on top of it. So it is multiple use cases handling, which of course makes it not that easy to optimize. On the other side, with respect to software-defined infrastructure, we see more a single use case scenario where the delivery allows you to run a specific use case, and that way it's much better to optimize for this single use case. And we answer this, or we start to answer this, by, of course, two approaches. One for the traditional infrastructure, that is SUSE Linux Enterprise, and for most of our customers, it's SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. And for the software-defined infrastructure, you might have heard about the SUSE Container as a Service platform, a tool just running containers on top, so optimized for this. But that's another story, as people would say, and we might run stuff in a different webinar to make this more common to you. If you look into the technical delivery, then the benefit of SUSE Linux Enterprise is to create all of this out of one common code base. The idea behind this is that the code is only done once. So, for example, we have one kernel tree, one kernel source, we have one Apache, for example, and all of this is part in the common code base. Out of this, we create function blocks. And if you look at the function blocks, most of these function blocks might sound familiar to you. But we also do the product delivery out of this. And of course, for the traditional side, the traditional SUSE Linux Enterprise products, with 15 we created a so-called unified installer. I will talk about this in a bit. Where on the other side, for the SUSE Container as a Service platform, we did something we call with SUSE MicroOS with Kubernetes for the container approach. But as I said, that's a different story. Let's focus on the more traditional area. The unified installer is one of the major themes. And what does it mean finally? It means instead of having a medium for every product, like we had it in the past, have one installer medium to install all the SUSE Linux Enterprise products. And this medium only contains the stuff you need to then install and kick off the systems to access other sources than for the full packages list. And that makes it much smaller than the traditional install media. So we can handle this in a faster way. We can easier provide it to you as a beta customers. But of course, on your side, inside your data center, you might be able to move it faster because it's smaller, and smaller usually is faster to transport. With the unified installer, then, we have an install workflow which is somewhat different to what we have in the traditional SUSE Linux Enterprise, but it's just a little bit different. So you start the installer, select the product to install, register the product you have, like a traditional registration key, and then run the product installation out of this. So you get one start point, and then you select what it is, and finally, by using the single installer, you might then end up be in a desktop environment or in an enterprise server environment, whatever you need. There are different install sources, of course. We believe most customers have some online install experience, be it directly from the repositories we provide via the so-called SUSE Customer Center, or be it indirect via a SUSE Manager or a so-called SMT or technology similar to that. However, we know that there are customers outside running a so-called disconnected installation where they want to take advantage of an air gap and hand over packages to a dedicated infrastructure for installation. That is a function we supported in earlier versions of SUSE Linux Enterprise, and we do so with SUSE Linux Enterprise 15. We call it the preloaded disconnected SMT. Then we have the complete offline installation. Some colleagues call it the submarine approach, means get a tool set by SUSE to allow you to install the product without any connection outside of when you download the initial images. And then we have an image-based approach like we have it today. You create your images, so-called silver, gold images, whatever name you have for it. You might use just enough operating system images. We will still provide for 15. Add your packages, your application or so, get an image and deploy the image. There's no change to what we had in the past for this. All right, moving over to the second theme, or the third theme, the Modular Plus. So Modular Plus is something which we started already very in the past. So it's not about the modules we did with 12, but it's all about the stuff we made at some points, like having an HA extension, having a software development kit, having different products like desktop and server and something like that. All of these were modules. As you might know and be aware of, with SUSE Linux Enterprise 12, we started to use the term modules, and we will use modules with 15 as well, but we'll make it more granular, easier to use by our belief, and such fitting better into what customers need. The most important piece of this is by the modules we are doing, we are able to provide you a stable base, the core, let's say it, of SUSE Linux Enterprise, and on top then by the modules make sure it fit different use cases, policies, or even the requirement we got to give you something in a faster speed than other stuff. So with respect to 15, that means we slightly change what it is between 12 and 15. On 12, we had one image per product. We had then some modules on top, and finally there was a software development kit which was on top of all of this, and sometimes it was not that easy to handle and manage on both sides of the aisle, be it for you as the end users or be it for us to create. With 15, the goal is to make it in some easier. So we have one installation media for all products. You could say everything is a module. I have a picture on this on the next slide. Like everything is a file, the traditional Unix saying, yeah. And the SDK now is more integrated. We still have a development module for the tool sets you need to create software, but some other stuff like the devel packages or so now along the packages and not in one repository where it has to fit all the products we are doing. When it comes to the modules, this is a diagram how it works together. As said, everything is a module. That means every product consists of at least one module. Most products consist of more than one module. And depending on what product you are entitled to or we deliver to our customers, we have different modules fitting together, providing the product on top. And then there are, of course, modules which fit into all the products, which are, as we had it with 12, part of the entitlement, and you are free to merge them, use them to fit your use case, as said, because SUSE Linux Enterprise Server is built for generic use cases. So this is a list of the SUSE Linux Enterprise 15 modules. Of course, some of the modules make sense to be mixed and work together, some of them not. Some of them build products, and of course, if we look into products, then we have products targeting the SAP environment. Of course, it makes not too much sense to mix this with a desktop environment and vice versa and something like that. All right, so and now moving on to the big theme we had listed at the end of the SUSE Linux Enterprise 15 themes, and that is ease of use. So you could say ease of use is something which is the idea of SUSE, because in the beginning we made it easier for our customers to get the bits at all, make installation easier, handling easier, and so on. So it's really something we have in our DNA. If you look into the feedback we got with SUSE Linux Enterprise 12 and feedback we got for earlier versions, then it was pretty clear to us that the SUSE universe is somewhat complex because there are so many packages, functions available, and sometimes it's not easy for an administrator or an architect to really locate a function and be and know where it is in the SUSE universe. So with 15, we are addressing as a specific theme the ease of use packaging handling. And this ease of use has a goal to find packages across all products, extensions, and modules. So even if you don't have a module available yet, or if it's not a product you have an entitlement for, you should be able to locate a function and then know that in principle SUSE provides you support for this, and then we have to check what is needed to get this supported and get access to it. And as said, with SUSE Linux Enterprise 15, with the modules, we might have different policies for the modules, like doing in some areas, like public cloud or so, give you more features in a faster way than the traditional enterprises handle stuff. So, and we need to make it visible to you that this happens and that you can get newest technology, more agile technology, for example, than other areas. And finally, that is important for compliance for many of our customers. Whenever you do something and access, for example, packages from a special module or so, we need to make sure that this is locked down and traceable, and that we know what happens there, so you can track changes easily and make sure it fits your policies as well. That said, I'm already done with this piece of it. As started with a beta site and mailing list, just in case you have not joined the beta program, you are invited to do so. Please join us, join the community of other beta testers, post your questions, feel free to give answers if you know an answer, else our team of engineers and release managers will help to answer questions in this.